Hey guys, it's Jason back with you. I'm going to talk about a few things here. Going to do some knife reviews, some knives that I've got and that I've used, over the years. Let you know what I think's good and what I think's bad and what you need to look for. I'm no knife expert, so take out of it what you will, and we'll go from there. I'm going to start out with the cheapest knife to the most expensive knife that I have. And these knives, I'm going to show you 5 knives, and they're all knives that I've used, quite a bit. They're knives that I like. The first one is made by Old Timer. I think it's called the Skinner. It's great for skinning small game, squirrel. Never skinned a deer with it. Squirrel, rabbit. It's got a nice handle. It's steel, so it will work with a ferro rod. So that's nice. All these, all your knives. And I'll show you. If you don't have a knife that will throw a spark, you need to get a different knife. This, like I said, this is about $15. It's not expensive. It's got a nice leather sheath with it. It's constructed pretty well. Like I said, this is for small game. Skinning. Not working around camp, prying, hacking down trees, nothing like that. Let's see, the next one I got is Michael Hawk's new survival knife. It's got a nylon sheath. It's pretty decent sheath. It's got the MOLLE attachments on the back. You can also put it on your belt. It's got a nice little storage thing in there. I've got a ferro rod in there. I've not used this knife a ton, but I've used it a little bit. It's kind of got a little weird design to it. Makes it a little unique. It's a pretty decent knife. It's got your holes for lashing. Don't know if I'm real crazy about the Tonto style blade. Some people like them. They look kind of cool, but I'm not a real big fan. One of the biggest downfalls of this knife is right there, made in China. I know that Buck has had a lot of problems with their knives that have came out of China, which I think they're all made back in the U.S. now. Chinese steel is not the greatest. That being said, I've hammered a little bit on this. It is a full tang. When I say a full tang, if you're not going to get a full tang knife, you might as well not get it. If you're getting a sheath knife, when I say full tang, it means the blade goes all the way down into the handle, and the grip is attached to your thing there. It's not dovetailed. It doesn't go down. Then it's just got a thin piece of metal down the center. That right there is full steel all the way down. So I'll be using this a little more, and like I said, it had a horrible edge on it when I got it, and I've sharpened it a little bit. It came out of it a little bit, but wasn't ship sharp. This knife here, if you're just getting into bushcrafting, prepper stuff, this isn't a bad knife. Retails for about $35 to $36, fairly cheap. You're gonna get what you pay for, though. All right, third knife. This was the first knife that I got. I'd wanted one for a long time and finally broke down. It's a Gerber LFM 2. I carried this knife for quite a bit. It's pretty banged up and beat up, and this knife has never failed me. It's got the full tang in it. This'll it's steel, so it'll throw a spark too. It's you gotta so it's not the best at throwing sparks, but it will throw a spark. These are made in Oregon, made in the U.S. This, it's got good steel on it. I went to a basic survival class that Dave Canterbury put on a couple years ago, and this was the knife I brought. And it's a pretty decent knife. It's got the serrated edge on it. After about 2 days of, a lot of use, the serrated edge is just about gone. So, I'm not a big fan of that edge. I just like a straight knife. The sheath, it's got a hard plastic sheath with nylon, and it'll come off. It's got all the MOLLE attachments on the back. It's got a built-in sharpener. This here knife, about 75 bucks, 80 bucks. You can find them on eBay, maybe a little cheaper. The next two knives I got are what I consider bushcrafting knives. They're not really survival knives. I've used them more than I've used any of the other ones. The first one is made by Camillus. It's got the the bushcraft style sheath. This knife retails for about $100. You can find them for a long time for $95, $100. Camillus has been around since like 1876, so they really know what they're doing on the knives. I know they make a few knives for Les Stroud. These here are, they're made in the U.S. It's a good knife. It's a full tang. You can see what I mean by full tang. The knife runs all the way down the handle. Both sides. You can see it. This has got the synthetic grips on it. It's been wet. I really, really like this knife. It's a nice little knife. When I bought this knife, I actually bought the Boker. It was like a K-bar Boker, and man, the more I got to looking at it, the less I liked it. So I went back and got this. And this has been an excellent little knife. And I've done pretty much all kinds of stuff. I've batoned wood, split wood with it. Done all kinds of stuff with it. It's just a good all-around knife. It's not a huge knife. It's only about maybe 6-7 inches long. But it's a pretty stout knife. It's got a thick blade. Throws a good spark. Pretty decent knife for $100. You can go cheap on a lot of stuff. Man, I would not go cheap on a knife. You're going to get what you pay for, and there's a lot of good stuff. Like this knife, it's $100. I know the economy today, $100 is a lot, but all the stuff that this knife will do for you, it's well worth $100. You can get the Gerber for $75, but why not put another $25 with it and get a more superior knife? Okay. The next one I have is this one here. This is a Habilis bush tool that Dave Canterbury sells. Habilis sells them too. You can go to their website. It's got the Pathfinder logo on it. I'm a pretty big Dave Canterbury fan. You see people on TV, and you wonder, well, can they really do that? Do they really, they really practice what they preach? I can tell you firsthand. I've been to Dave's basic class. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. I've always considered myself a pretty decent woodsman. I was a Boy Scout, military. But when I went to his basic class, man, I learned so much. He really refines your technique. So just does an outstanding job. This is one of his knives. This is a Habilis bush tool. You got your classic bush style sheath. It's got a drop belt loop, so when you wear it on your belt, you can wear it different ways. You can wear it long ways, or you can wear it from your belt. I like the drop because when I backpack and stuff, it doesn't get in the way. I made a little lanyard for it. This thing is, you could beat somebody to death with this thing. It's just a massive piece of steel. It is heavy, but I tell you what, this knife will do anything you want it to do. I've cut down small trees with it. I mean, this thing is just it's a monster. It's high carbon steel. You got the Dave Canterbury Pathfinder School logo and the Habilis logo on it. It's got a spindle there for making bow fires and different things. You can use that to push down on. Thick blade. Like I said, this thing, I've hammered steaks in with it. I've really abused this knife, and it's still straight as can be. I've split wood with it. I've chopped down trees, like I said. It's just a phenomenal knife. But the sheath's great. Good leather sheath. You can't beat a good leather sheath. It's got the slot in it for a ferro rod. You can slide a ferro rod in it. That makes it nice because, right there on your side you've got your cutting tool and a way that you can make fire. So that's a super plus. Also on my sheath I've got a small piece of Gorilla Tape, and I keep a sail needle in there, which is just a heavy duty, basically, sewing needle. And those are the knives I have. Now I want to show you a product that Dave sells that I really like. This is made by Jeremy Janey. He's one of Dave Canterbury's instructor. This was just kind of coming out when we went to his survival class. It's called Fixing Wax. It is phenomenal stuff. I mean, I have shaved it off to put it in a frying pan to use as grease. I've used it as chapstick when I've been out in the woods. I coat all my knives with this. And the reason I use this instead of like WD-40 or an oil, this is all natural. This won't hurt you. You can eat it. You can, rub it all over you. It ain't gonna hurt you. I use my knives a lot for cooking, cleaning animals. I don't really want to taste WD-40 or oil or whatever you want to put on your knives to keep them from rusting. This will do everything that an oil will do, but it's all natural. It's a phenomenal product. You can buy it on at the Pathfinder store that Dave Canterbury runs and owns. Just a phenomenal product. Which most of the items that you find on Dave's website and the Pathfinder store, that stuff has, he really puts his stuff through the ringers and tests it and everything. So I have full confidence in anything that he sells, that it's been rigorously tested and Dave approved. Like I said, thanks for watching. The next video I'm going to do is going to be on something a little more exciting, guns. Everybody loves guns. We're going to talk about some guns that preppers use, what I think everybody should have. Like I said, my opinion is my opinion. But you see these shows where everybody's got these big vaults and they've got guns and stuff in them. Really, you only need 4 or 5 guns. For just one person. Your ammunition is what you need. That's what you need to stock up on. If you've got 15 different guns and they're all a different caliber, and you've got 20 rounds for each gun, that's just not enough. So it's better to stick with fewer guns. Plus, it's a lot cheaper, and then just stock up on your ammo. But we'll get into that in the next video. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and everybody have a good night, and God bless.